And we are live! Hello, everyone! I am wonderful Vwild, and I will be playing Lil Lin Stagehand in this lovely FPS with my dear friend.
Oh, hi. I'm RJ.
Hey, hey!
I've played basically everyone else.
And we all love you for it.
Hmm.
Alright, and this is an FPS that has been a little while in the coming. Uh, it takes a bit after, let's say, how long do you want to stage it after that? Uh, Show your true petals after that lovely dinner party that did take a turn for the worse at one point. But hey,
Lovely.
we had pie.
Lovely. In all the speech fucking marks. Honestly, it's really up to you. Jacques has just been recuperating in as far as he is able with his fucking Forticon. Uh, it's just been fairly quiet on their end.
Oh, bless. It has kind of been the opposite on Lynn's. Lynn is one of those people who just kind of works for the sake of working and then works some more. And I think we start this late at night or in the evening, just when reasonably you should be asleep. And your lovely manner gets, well, Jacques and Asclepius gave Lynn a key, gave everyone a key,
Yeah.
and which I am still very, like, Lynn is very touched at that. It is a treasured possession. And late on this night, she uses it. And there's the quiet click of the door, and she comes in. And she looks absolutely fine. There is nothing wrong with
Jesus.
this monkey
Lynn.
whatsoever.
Lynn. You look like you come out of a 3-day bender, my dude. Oh my god.
She is healthy. She is healthy. She is fine. She is coping with every last bit of her trauma and stuff just fine. She's pecking fantastic. Although the giant burst of wind that she shuts behind her might be arguing against that.
Well.
And take it away.
So, the key, for those of you who don't know, it works like this. You insert it into a lock, and you turn it like you're unlocking the door. The key then stores what door that is, and instead of it opening to its regular room, it opens instead to the foyer of the mansion that Asclepius and Jacques live in. When it's storing a door, the eye sockets in the key glow orange, and you can insert this key then into the front door of the manor to return to where you were previously. So, when then closes the door behind her, turns around, and she is stood in the foyer of the mansion that Asclepius and Jacques live in. There's the door to the ballroom in front of her, there's a small little alleyway off to the side that she knows has stairs that leads down to the basement. Where would you like to go?
Well, first thing Lynn's going to do is listen out now, because she basically wants to see if anyone else is up, about. She doesn't want to particularly disturb anyone. She just needed to clear her head for a minute. Just a minute, but she's just doing it as a healthier alternative.
Fair enough.
And
Go ahead and
let's see,
roll.
that'd be.
Go ahead and roll perception, but also go ahead and make an intelligence roll as well.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. That is perception. That is not.
10 for perception.
Oh wait,
Alright.
can I go with advantage, seeing as she's using her hearing more than anything else?
Yeah, I will allow that.
Because she has heightened senses.
That's not better.
No,
We'll take the 10.
no. Admittedly, that makes sense with how she's actually feeling. And let's see, you said intelligence. She is better at that, hopefully. Oh, she is a lot better at
with
that.
the 25, I'd say she is better. Now, you don't hear anyone, but as you're stood there listening, you suddenly think, oh, duh, no, I wouldn't. because you didn't particularly take conscious notice of it the last times you were in the building, but you suddenly remember sound doesn't tend to travel between room to room in this building. It tends to stay enclosed in the room it was generated in. So if there was anyone in, say, the basement or the ballroom, which are the rooms adjacent to this one, you're not going to hear them.
Ah. Alright. So, good on some counts, bad on others. Okay. And Lynn's just, she's been thinking of things recently, and one of the things she's going to do first is just poke her head into the ballroom. That's where she's going to go first.
Fair enough. As she steps through, it's fairly empty. It is pretty dark. The ghostly green lanterns that normally light the room are extinguished, so there's only the moonlight from the seemingly ever-present full moon streaming in through the large windows. The either side of the door there are sets of stairs that lead up to a mezzanine on the, for the Americans who may be listening to this, the second floor. For the rest of us, it's the first floor. The pillars cast deep shadows that are difficult to look through even with your heightened senses, but there's no one around. You can investigate if you want, just wander around.
I think the first thing she's going to do is she is going to look around, because last time she was here, she did leave, well, scratches in the floor from a certain shift. And she's basically just checking this place to see if there's any lasting damage. So that'd be investigation?
Sure.
Investigation. 11.
11 for investigation. You pad across the room to where you remember standing the last time you were here. You don't feel any scuffs in the floor or anything like that. It's a little difficult to see because, again, you're going off the moonlight, and although it is bright, there's also a lot of shadows in the room just from the natural layout. But you don't think you left any lasting damage.
One thing I didn't damage. That's fucking fantastic. And there's nothing else there, nothing. I know she won't actually know, but in her head, she's basically taking stock of there's nothing dangerous, there's nothing threatening, there's no shadows out of place. It's safe. This place is safe. No one's hurt. No one's in danger at the moment. Well, hopefully. You know what? Let's not think about that. Let's try another room. Let's just keep walking. Because that's what Lynn does. She just walks.
Go ahead and roll. Go ahead and roll another perception check, but you don't have advantage on this, and I'll explain why in a moment.
Mm-hmm. I always forget my perception. It's Lynn. You make me forget so many things.
15. Okay.
15.
So as you turn around to walk back toward the ballroom doorway, you catch sight of a humanoid-ish shadow up on the mezzanine. And you can't quite pinpoint what it is, but it's there and it's fairly tall.
Lynn is just frozen at that. She's not looking at it out of the full of it. She's looking at the corner of her eye, and one hand is going to her brooch, and the other is going for her crossbow. Because nope, don't like that. Don't like that.
Doesn't seem to be moving at all.
Okay. Pecking heck. All right. I'm saying Lynn's sort of middle of the room. She's just gonna. I want to say this. It's just like, Lynn, why are you trying to stealth? You're in the middle of a room. But she's just gonna very quickly just get to cover.
I mean, there's plenty of it around.
Yep. She just zoom. She's gone. And she's just going to press herself to a wall. Basically just get herself out of sight. She's not quite clocked that maybe this is someone good, maybe it's someone bad. Right now, she's just like, threat in the house. Wait, pick. This is someone else's house. Threat. Okay.
So yeah, so you duck behind a pillar. The shadow doesn't move at all again. And as you run, a cloud passes briefly over the moon, plunging everything into shadow before it scuds across and moves away, and the whole room lights up again, and light glints off of the thing casting this shadow. And you realize, oh, it's just a suit of armor. Okay.
Pick and heck. Okay. Right. It's not Bogart. He's gone. It's not. This is a safe place, Lynn. This is a safe picking place. Everything's fine. You need to get a grip.
In darting away,
picking coffee.
Mm-hmm. You move the side of the room, and this puts you next to the left hallway. Because off the ballroom there is the west wing, which is the left hallway, the east wing, which is the right hallway, and there was for more rooms to the back of the house, which was behind the hallway behind the throne. Just other options for you to explore other than the mezzanine and the basement.
Mm-hmm. She's gonna take that hallway, the one that's closest to her. Just like, she's not trying to sneak around the whole house. She's just trying to walk. Honestly, she's not really thinking. She's just like, this is a safe place. She just wants to check it out. She just wants to make sure people are safe, and she just wants to get out of her own head for a minute. And she's just gonna walk through.
Fair enough. There are 3 rooms on this hallway. As you walk in, the door to your left, which... Oh yeah, you remember now. This was the room that Asclepius pointed out the last time you were here as holding all the alchemy equipment and such. This is a door to the right, which is almost opposite that one, slightly further down the hall. It has some kind of symbol on it. You're not quite sure what it is. It's not from anything that looks familiar to you, but it's there. And then on the far end of the hall, there is what looks to be some kind of bathroom.
I don't think Lynn wants to go in the bathroom because mirrors and doesn't like mirrors anymore. Those are
Aww.
She's gonna she's gonna investigate the room with the strange symbol. She's not gonna raid it, but she might just like nudge the door open just the tiniest bit, just have a little peek. She's a curious monkey with poor impulse control. Can you blame her for anything?
Fair enough. So the symbol itself looks to be this kind of... It's like a rectangle if you put it on the short edge standing up and cut off the top 2 corners to like round it off. And in the center there is a closed eye over a cup. And you push the room open and go ahead and make what this would be. Very loud car outside. Let's make this a religion check.
Religion. Oh.
5. Okay. There's
Lynn doesn't know shit about religion.
There's pews. There's what you think is an altar, but this doesn't look like any church you've ever seen, because normally churches don't tend to have fungi growing across the walls and gravestones making up the altar. You don't know what's going on, but something's going on here, dude. It's a strange-ass chapel.
Okay, Lynn looks in, does the double blink, realizes she hasn't got enough coffee in her system and just goes, okay, picking magical hokum. I don't judge. And closes the door.
Fair enough.
It's just like, nope, she does not understand. She's not going to go and break it by accident, because knowing Lynn, she'd probably break it by accident. She touches it, it explodes.
So, that's the entirety of the left hallway, unless you'd like to poke your head into the alchemy room. Although you have a sneaky suspicion you know exactly what's going to be in there.
Picking magical bullshit.
Pecking alchemical bullshit.
Even better. I think because Lynn genuinely, she doesn't want to pry, as I've said. You know what? She's going to do something. People go to other people's houses all the time and do this. It's fine. It's totally fine. She's going to go and try and find the kitchen.
Okay.
She's just going to try and sniff out the kitchen, because there's something she wants. Now that she's thinking about coffee, it's just like she knows what she wants.
Okay. So you take a sniff, and you take another sniff, and you start to become very confused. Because you can smell food coming from two different directions. There's food coming from the east wing, which is the right corridor, which is the corridor you went through for the dinner party, and there's food coming from the south corridor, which is the corridor toward the back of the house, where you left through the first time you were ever in the manor.
Ooh.
You have a sneaky suspicion there might be two kitchens.
I think. Ooh. I'm going to roll a D2 on this one, because because Lynn is just like, either way could. All right, Lynn is going to go towards the one that she knew before, because she knows going deeper into the house, going to the back of the house, that might potentially be going fully into the house, and she doesn't know. She doesn't quite know where she stands with these two, and she doesn't want to raid their house. She doesn't want to. She doesn't want to be that kind of thing.
Okay, so it's hilarious that you should phrase that as the reason why she's going to the East Wing, because the East Wing is Jacques and Asclepius's personal wing. This is where their apartment is. They have the entirety of the East Wing, both ground floor and first floor.
You fucking idiot.
She's stressed.
Not
She's
smart.
not thinking straight. We won't hold it against her. So you traverse down the corridor. The first door, which is on the left again, is the dining hall from before, the much smaller one. You have two doors. They're both closed. The one at the far end, you try the handle, it is locked. The one on the right, it is unlocked, but the door is closed.
Before she goes in, because she is going to go in, she's going to take a glance around, because this is the room where it all went wrong before. And she's just going to run a quick investigation, because her entire thing is just making sure this place is safe. And she's still not quite over what happened.
12.
That's a 12.
I'm gonna give you the 12. Okay. You glance about. It is dark in here. There's no windows in this room. And the light is all extinguished. But as you turn to leave again, the one thing that does catch your eye is that there was previously a painting in this room of three people. Jacques, Asclepius, and Sabogat. That painting is nowhere to be seen.
Lynn does stare at that, and yeah, there is a hint of relief at that she doesn't have to see him again. I mean, yeah, that was something. And she just gives a little shake. tries to smooth down her fur a little bit because it is getting just a little bit coarse and bristly, and then she just goes, "Nope, I'm not thinking about that. Take it." And she very gently opens the door.
This is the kitchen. It's both what you'd expect and not at all. Because there are, like, industrial level appliances in here, but also the countertops are made of what you would think in the sunlight or in regular light to be a soft pink kind of stone. Some kind of marble, maybe? You don't know. Rocks aren't your forte. Not in this form.
The Vwild is going, bite it. The Lin is just looking at it.
The kitchen has a bunch of fridge magnets on, with different, like, post-it notes and stuff. You think one of them might be a shopping list, but also it's a chicken scratch so bad that not even you can read it.
And hers is terrible. Seriously, don't read her notes.
Yeah. There's a copy machine with so many buttons. Just all the buttons. It's the fanciest thing you've ever seen. There's no coffee in it, unfortunately. Sad times. But
Heck.
There's a trap door in the corner.
Ooh. I got a bit. The first thing when Lynn saw the coffee maker, her ears just like pricked, and it was just like coffee. And then seeing there was none in it, it's just like, oh, love us. And she is eyeing up that trapdoor. Pick it. She's got ridiculously poor impulse control. You know what? Yeah, let's go over there. Investigation. I love how I've just got this monkey who's just come into this house and is just wandering around. She is the little kid just having the time of her life. And let's see. Should she invest? She's going to investigate the trapdoor, just so it's not trapped.
Fair enough. Go ahead and roll. 25. Okay. So you go over there. And contrary to the rest of this kitchen, this is more along the lines of what you'd find in a medieval castle. It is, whereas like the floor is tiled, this thing is made of wood and has metal, you think probably steel, kind of frame, I guess the word would be. It's got a ring for a handle and doesn't appear to have a lock on it. Do you open it?
Yep.
Go ahead and make a dex. Go ahead and make a
carefully.
dex save.
Oh, for the love of... Lynn got really poor impulse control.
This is gonna happen either way. 21.
Hey!
Okay. So you open it, and the sudden pull, like a vacuum, grabs at you, and you manage. You do get sucked in, but you manage to right yourself so that you land on your feet rather than on your butt. But the trapdoor above you closes and vanishes from view.
Okay, you know how she's been mottled? Yeah, no, she's full russet now. She's poofed up like a cat on all fours, just, nope. Okay. That happened. Oh. And she's very carefully glancing around now. And what can she see? What can this monkey what can she see?
Actually, surprisingly quite a bit. Because the basement, unlike the rest of the house, the torches are lit. So you actually can see things, you have light to see by. Unfortunately, everything looks to be much the same either way. The path ahead of you, the floor is stone, but it's been covered with a layer of you think it might be hay, but it feels soft under your paws. The corridor seemingly just stretches out into darkness. Same with the path behind you. Go ahead and make an investigation check.
Lynn is very softly under her breath muttering Grawlix now. She's like, not enough that it becomes tangible, but it's there.
23,
Hey,
okay.
she is alert.
As you look closer at the ground, trying to puzzle out why hay would feel so soft, you notice there's brief patches where the hay has been disturbed, leaving a trail of almost footprints to follow.
It's the best thing she's got. Yep. She's like, okay, back on 2 feet now. Adjust everything, and just like she's following it cautiously, but she's following.
You follow, and you follow, and you follow for a while, and it gets to the point where you're like, have I seen this intersection before? No. No, I haven't. Yes, I have. I've seen this intersection before. What's going on? But
Yeah, there's Grawlix.
you get the feeling that this is not you leading yourself astray. This is something is twisting you around intentionally. And just you're starting to get this side of frustrated. You find yourself walking into a room. And it's not a big room. It's maybe 20 feet by 20 feet.
Mm-hmm.
The room itself is fairly barren. There's a couple of chests. One of them is open. You can spy some old books. Old, well worn, but pretty well taken care of. In the middle of the room on the far side, there is a display case. Glass fronted, made of wood, all that jazz. And in it, there is a weapon. Now, you know great axes. You have one yourself, and you know they are hefty weapons, but yours is a much more appropriately sized for your relatively short stature. This one is like double your height. The blade itself is probably the same height as you, whereas the shaft is exceptionally long. And as you get closer to take a better look at it, you notice that the blade has a pattern. There is half of a jack-o'-lantern face cut out of it, and the edges have intricate runes carved in this fiery pattern. And as you take a look around the room, you notice this weapon has been meticulously kept. The blade has been recently oiled, polished, and sharpened. There's no sign of rusting on the metal or splintering on the shaft. The leather-wrapped handle is clean and well taken care of. But the case is old and weathered. It's been looked after, but not nearly to the same extent.
Lynn has wandered in to investigate that. She's not gonna touch, because she almost did, like just so that she could get a better look, but it's just like, nope. She doesn't trust herself to touch things much. And she's... What made you? Alright.
It's at this point that you hear a voice behind you go, Lynn?
Pick. And she just whirls around, just like...
And you can see Jacques now, stood in the doorway. He's leaning heavily on his cane. Go ahead and roll an insight check.
Insight.
25! Oh my god! The DC for this is 13! Jesus! Okay. So, two things jump out at you. First and foremost, his grinning facade isn't nearly as present down here as it has been the past times you've known him. The other thing is that briefly his head twitches as he glances past you at the great axe, and you see, you'd almost call it pain, flash across his skull. just briefly, before he looks back at you and asks, "What on earth are you doing down here?"
Uh, um, and I think you should make an insight roll for Lynn, or for Jacques to Lynn.
D20 plus 9. 17!
Yeah, you kind of. He sees her. Lynn tries to keep this constant act of being in control, of being the snappy detective, and in this moment, she's just kind of frozen because she wasn't anticipating on seeing people. She was, and she is just looking and going, "Hi, Jacques. Um, sorry, did I wake you? I mean, Pick, this is your house. I am sorry, I got lost.
He just steps into that and waves a hand. He's like, "Oh no, the basement turns around everyone bar me and Asclepius. I think it likes us. Come on, I'll come get us some coffee."
Then they'll glance up at that with the basement coming up, just like, and she is just trying to just like, okay, so that's, oh, like, no, okay. And then she just like trots after because it's like, oh, coffee.
You notice now that he's leading you, the trip through the basement takes like a fraction of the time before you guys are heading up the stairs in the foyer and moving through the foyer, going through the ballroom into the smaller kitchen. And he sets up the coffee maker and looks at you and just goes, "How do you take it?"
Uh, how many shots can you give it, basically?
For the sake
Give
of
it to
your
me.
health, I'm going to limit you to 2.
Really? 2? Pick it. And actually, no, she hasn't got a canteen. Pick it. She's just going, okay, fine. Can I have it in a big cup?
Of course, but you're still only getting 2. So he makes you a decently sized mug of coffee. Like he promises 2 shots of espresso. You think otherwise it's a latte, maybe. You don't tend to put milk in your coffee, but you'll take what he gives you because it's coffee. He himself has, you know, all the memes about going to Starbucks and getting something ridiculous with like 16 pumps of caramel syrup? That.
Oh, bless this man. He is sweet.
Do you say this in character?
Uh, she does under her breath go, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
20 plus what is your perception modifier? 6. Oh, he definitely hears you. You get a brief chuckle out of him before he gives you the cup, and you guys he offers you a seat at, there's like an island in the middle of the room that has a couple bar stools. He offers you a seat there, takes one of his own.
Yeah, she scrambles up into it. It's just like, yep. There is still that sheepishness of she maybe shouldn't have been that far down, but coffee is a priority right now.
And it is a bit of a scramble because this kitchen is made for beings who are over double your height. This bar stool by itself, the seat is above your head. He like, you can see on his face, he almost offers you a like a footstool or something to help you climb up, but then you scramble up and it's like, oh, never mind then.
This is the little kid in the house. It's just like Lynn's. Well, actually, yeah, Lynn is kind of young, but she's just like scrambled up, just like, okay, I did it. Ah. And that coffee, half of it is gone almost instantly.
Fair enough. He drinks his far slower, stowing his cane in. There's like a little notch in the side of the table, and as he puts his cane there, he's like, "Oh, that's what that's for." Okay, fair enough. So he
Fancy.
takes a sip of his drink and kind of folds his hands together and goes, "So, what can I do for you?" on this auspicious night?
Another big gulp of coffee because it's like build up the courage and goes. I was not anticipating it right away. But I was wondering to talk to you at some stage about something. Might as well talk about it tonight. Uh, Wait, Peck, this is the middle of the night. Are you okay with talking to me? I can go. I mean, I know you and Asclepius. I mean, Peck, I've probably woke
He
you up. I
just
am so sorry.
waves a hand and goes, I won't be sleeping tonight. Not anymore. But feel free to carry
Oh. And there is this kind of that. No, you've got freakishly high perception. You're going to get this anyway. And Lynn's kind of just like nightmares. Yeah. And she's gone a little bit more outline, and she's playing with the cup, and she goes, I was at the dinner party, which for the start, how are you? How are you, Jacques? I mean, you doing all right? Well, as all right as you can.
He kind of sighs a bit and takes a quick sip of his own drink, in much the same manner as you had before starting those sentences. Um, and he's not quite looking at you so much as he is looking over your shoulder. And he goes, I'm about as good as when we first met. I've not gotten worse, but the progress that I had made has unfortunately been erased.
Pick, sorry to hear that.
Not your fault. I truly, none of you had anything to do with it. He would have struck that night regardless. Admitted it as much himself.
Hmm.
But that is not what you came here to talk about, I suspect. So,
No, well, there are two points I wanted to talk to you about at some stage. I was, let's see, which one's nicer? Well, none of them nice. I was wanting to talk to you after the dinner about something, but well, everything got derailed. So, and you can kind of see that she is playing with the cup, just and her claws have dug ever so slightly into it, and she just goes, "How do you make a contract?"
you don't even need to roll insight for this. You can tell that sentence has taken him completely off guard, and he recovers quickly, as befitting of his station, but you can see there's still an underlying confusion to his entire form as he asks, what kind of contract do you mean?
A contract. You and Asclepius at the dinner talked about making contracts with with monsters, and I I want to know how to make a contract with you. I have money. I have I'm good at quite a few things. Um, I I want to make a contract with you.
He's gonna go ahead and roll insight on that. Let's roll this correctly, shall we? Uh, that's not right. There we go, 25! What did you get with a 25?
You see, the more that she's talking, she's actually got slightly more russet, and she's actually noticed that, and she's like threaded her claws together so that she's not touching the mug, and she's trying to calm herself down at that. And you remember when you said or when you or Asclepius said monster back at the dinner party, that was when Lynn started getting a little different at the table. She did shift. And maybe that was because she was enjoying the soup, or maybe it was because she was thinking of something. Maybe she was thinking of something she can do. And Lynn is trying to keep herself together at that, and she takes a very deep breath and forces a bit more of the russet back, and she goes, I want to make a contract to have a place here, preferably somewhere isolated, preferably somewhere limited contact with others. How would I go about doing this with you, Jacques?
You see this sadness cross over his face, and he pushes his own cup to one side, and he reaches forward and so gently takes your paws and goes, My dear, you are not a monster. I can promise you that. I have known monsters all my life. I admittedly do somewhat object to the term, because people tend to think of the word monster and they think of something horrible, something evil, but the people who live here aren't evil. They can be destructive and they can be rowdy, but they're not bad people, and neither are you.
Have you met me, Jacques? I I don't know what I am. And maybe your people aren't monsters. Maybe they're not. They're good people, and a wonderful thing about them. And she gives this very rueful smile. She goes, "I can't hurt them in a way that matters." And you say that they're not horrid. You're not horrid. No one is horrid or evil except I'm dangerous, and I know what to do with dangerous things.
Dear.
And she's being very careful. Like you took her paw, and you can actually see she's flexed her hand so her claws don't touch you. She's allowing the touch because she does like touch, but she's being very careful not to do anything damaging.
He intentionally shifts his hands, and he's got long, spindly hands. He's a skeleton, of course he has, but he intentionally shifts so that his fingers are curled around your claws, and he goes, My dear, you saved my life. You saved the life of my husband. You saved my town.
The,
You are not
the kid.
a bad person. And you are not a monster. You know, the other day, I had the lichens over, and they've got such good senses, they smelled you out almost immediately. Sensitive noses, that lot. Anyway, they told me they were rather concerned. Apparently you smelled off. How did they put it? Ah, yes. Your scent was laid with someone else's. Like, you don't shift voluntarily. I asked them if there was anything that could be done about it, and they told me that it was already within our power to help. Asclepius knows the magic. Just give us the word. You don't need to stay and suffer in your own skin. We can help you. You don't need to isolate yourself either.
Oh, pecking heck. Tell me, does a 17 pass the passive perception of Asclepius?
Of Jacques.
Oh, Jacques, I am so sorry.
Is this a deception check?
Yes.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Oh, as you've been talking, Lynn Lynn used to pride herself on being very much a give nothing away person, and her fur has been very much shifting and unshifting, even as she tried to keep her face under control. And when you said about how there was another form overlain with hers, it was, yeah, there was that very moment of remembering a very different time for a second and realizing that her scent is now etched with it. That that almost overruled everything else you said until you started talking about a cure, and she does look at you, and I think she's going to have to roll an insight. Pray she gets good insight.
8.
All right. You see Lynn become guarded, and there was this flicker of pain, and then hope, and then confusion, and then just this closed off. And she goes, "What's your angle here, Jacques?"
My angle? My dear, I don't know what you mean.
4 years. I have been like this. For 4 years, I have looked for a cure. I have really looked for a cure. I have tried. The first year, I went a lot of places I really shouldn't have. I mean, there are things I tried to do to cure this that perhaps actually hurt me in the long run, but I've accepted that. And for the past year, I have had a good doc, and he does his best, but this is still getting worse, and he can't figure out what's going on with this. I can't figure out what's going on with this. And then you say there's a cure, and I haven't. I've been searching, and what's going on here? Because you're a good person. I know you're a good person, and this wouldn't be a trap. This wouldn't be something. This won't make anything. This won't hurt. This no, you are a good person. And she is ever so slightly tugging her hand out of yours because her paranoia is playing up because she's tried, and this is no, you're good, but what if this is a trap? Because she can't trust herself like this.
He will let your hand go. He he can see that you're spiraling because he's got inside out the fucking wazoo. But
And also, he's spooky grandpa.
yeah, but for a moment he's a little bit stunned by the depths of how much you hate this, hate yourself, hate the journeys that you had to make before he rallies and goes, if you would like to see an angle to it, then the best I can offer is that you saved my life and I would like to repay you. But I promise you this is a no strings attached deal. I don't know what you've seen in the past. I don't know what you've faced. But I do know that when I was in danger, when my husband was in danger, you came and you stayed and you helped us. You didn't have to do this. You could have just left on the train, let Halloweentown be overrun, let Sir Boggart kill me and Asclepius, and have moved on with your life and done nothing. But
I couldn't have done that.
You chose to help. You choose to help every day. I remember what you do. You may see yourself as this bad person, but you aren't. And you deserve good things. Do you understand?
There's Lynn is staring at you, and she hasn't shifted any more, Russet. I mean, she has been going darker, but it's not getting any worse. And she goes, "Of course, I couldn't pick and leave you. I couldn't leave someone in danger. I mean, you and the kids and Asclepius. I mean, it's you. You all are good, and I protect good. I I protect good people, and I protect kids, and I protect you and Asclepius because you are so good in a way that
Then allow
I just want
us.
to protect people."
Then allow us to do the same for you. One-sided loyalty is not loyalty, Lynn. You cannot keep giving if your basket is empty. We gave you all the key to our door because we knew we could trust you, because we wanted you to have a place that you could go when all else failed, when you needed somewhere to go, to take a load off, to have someone else carry the burden for a while. That is what we do for our people, myself and my husband, and that is what we'd like to do for you, as honorary citizens of our town, and as our saviors. But we cannot do that unless you let us. You do not have to take our offer now. We will happily offer it again when you ask. I thought I should let you know that it is on the table.
Then there is a bit more gold back in her fur as she's staring at you as you've talked like this. And she looks down back at the coffee cup and her claws and she goes, I I want to do some more research. If there are any books on how your hypothetical cure would work, can I have some books on that?
Of course. And he will wave a hand and enact his innate house and magics, and he summons an unseen servant, which floats off through the door, presumably to go and grab the books.
And as she's watched this, she goes, there's something pecking ironic about this shift. I don't actually know whether that's ironic, but the my affliction, this monster, and she does stop herself from saying monstrosity, and she goes, this condition was a very unique circumstance, and the thing is still out there, but what it's given me, I mean, I heckin' hate shifting, I hate looking like it, I hate losing control, but it's given me the ability to defend people against it and other things like it. It's given me the power to fight monsters. If I don't have that, what happens if it comes back? And I'm a little fluffy stagehand again.
Well, you do have the key to our front door.
Yeah. And I know, well, your husband can kick picking ass. Can I say that?
Yes. I love my husband dearly. He's so gentle with everything, but oh, I fear his anger. It is glacial in nature and just as powerful.
he can pick and demolish someone is what he can do. I mean, I am honestly, and she is remembering back to that time when he completely almost obliterated Sir Bogart, and she is just like, seriously, that guy is powerful.
Mm. Admittedly, the spell that he used was uniquely suited to take on Sir Bogart. It naturally afflicts plant creatures and plants more than it does, say, us, or any other such ordinary toon or real kind. But it is still a powerful spell nonetheless, and not one that I would like turned on me. Not least of all because I am fairly certain it would actually kill me, most with anything else, but besides the point.
Oh, picnic. I do actually have another question on the topic of that guy,
Mhm.
and that is what happened to him after everything? I mean, it, he is getting justice, I guess, is the best word to use for him. He's not still out there, right?
Go ahead and make an insight check.
And you might want to make one against Lynn as well. Actually, you've just got scary high perception. She is just kind of. I'm going to let you roll.
Okay.
Oh, Lynn, why are you rolling low, Lynn?
12. You know what? You know what? I'm gonna let you roll with advantage on this.
Hey,
Because you guys are just kind of opening yourselves up to each
13.
other. 13. It's better.
It's
Jacques and, 27. um, yeah, so you notice he looks tired, and he also looks almost grieving. But that's not quite the right word, but it's the only word that comes to mind to describe his expression right now. He goes, he sighs, takes another swig of his drink, and goes, you know, I wasn't sure if I was going to tell any of you this, but you've been forthright with me. I think you deserve something in return.
Mm-hmm. Lynn's shifted into detective mode a little bit here. It's just whatever you say, it stays between us, I promise. On my honor.
I appreciate that. It's relieving. Um, so Bogart and I, we've known each other for a long time. He arrived in Halloweentown shortly after a cataclysmic event. Um, I was fairly new in my mayoral role. I was not made for this role and was having difficulty adjusting to it. He arrived and he just fit. He made everything easier. We
Oh.
became close. Eventually, he moved in with me. And then Asclepius came, and again, he just fit. The three of us were happy for a while. The incident a few weeks ago was not the first time he's attempted to take over. He tried once before. He took Asclepius hostage. I I didn't know if I would ever see him again. I managed to find him, obviously, and free him, and I banished Sir Bogart from Halloweentown. Granted, the incident made me realize that Asclepius won't live nearly as long as I will, so I'd better save every moment that I have it with him, which led me to propose. Led us both to propose, I suppose, I should be more accurate, so not all bad,
Aww.
but I didn't think he would ever come back, and that was foolish of me. because I should have known that that ambition wouldn't fade. He reminds me far too much of someone else. Not in a good way.
Oh,
I knew after this latest attempt that he wouldn't stop. He wouldn't stop. He would keep going until I was dead, or he was dead, or both. The Scorpius knew that too. So we gave him to the vampires. They put him in their crypt. It's the one place that plants cannot grow. A slow death, to be certain, but one he will not feel. We did not allow him enough time to regenerate fully. And he looks greatly saddened by this. And you know, Jacques is the kind of person who would see the best in people, who would keep trying, no matter how many times he got burned. But he almost died. He knows he almost died, and that scared him.
Lynn has reached forward and she's taken his hand in hers. Just, she knows that people need comfort, and right now she wants to comfort this man because she likes him. And as much as she was scared earlier of potentially something going wrong, right now she considers this man, yeah, well, she's a bleeding heart. She considers him family already. And she's just taken his hand and she's like, you did what you had to do. And I'm so sorry that that had to happen. I'm so sorry that relationship. I'm so sorry for you, Jacques.
He laughs a little bit, but it's not a happy sound. He clears his throat quickly, calms himself down a little bit. Yes. So, suppose the point of all that was, he will no longer be an issue.
That's. She gives your hand a reassuring squeeze, and there is a bit of, because of that high roll you got earlier for the insight, you do see there's relief, but also she's sad for you. She's sad that something that could have been good and kind and that love died. And at the same time, she's also glad that someone that she was genuinely terrified of is gone. And that she almost did it. She almost got rid of him, but she didn't. But at least there's something in that. A threat handled.
Mm. He kind of senses the mood that's fallen over the two of them, and gives your paw a squeeze, but shakes himself a little bit and goes, well, I'd rather prefer to hear something much lighter and mildly funny.
Oh. And she has perked up a bit of that. It's like, oh.
So, I mentioned that I proposed to Asclepius, and then I corrected myself and said that we proposed to each other.
Oh, ho, ho. Oh, come on, give me the deets on this. Fucking heck, I want to know.
Now, it's a funny thing. A blush is caused by blood vessels in your cheeks expanding, giving off heat. Skeletons don't have blood vessels, but you can see the luminous blush that is forming on this man's cheekbones. As he goes, sometime after Sobergod Spanishing, I asked Asclepius to go on a date with me, to the hut that he used to live in before he moved in with us at the manor. He agreed, obviously, and we had a wonderful picnic, and I don't remember what exactly I said. I fairly certain it was something along the lines of, I've known you for a while now, because we'd known each other for at least 20 years at that point. And I
Oh, picking
think.
heck, that's around as long as I've been alive.
Yes, we're all very long lived. Like I said, at the dinner party, I've been around as long as the town. Escapius is only mildly younger than me. Both getting on a bit. But I digress. I believe it was along the lines of we've known each other for a while now, and we felt very comfortable, and then he cut me off by standing up, and I thought, oh no, he's going to walk out on me. But no, he got down on one knee and offered me a ring and said, "You are very long-winded. Would you marry me?"
And Lynn has gone bright gold again, or almost as gold as she can. There's always going to be a bit of russet, but she is now just cackling.
And I feel so bad, but I started laughing like you are. And he looked mildly upset, and I had to hurry to assure him, no, 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 this is perfect. By then getting down on my own knee and pulling out my own ring.
Oh, picking heck.
We were laughing about that for a while to come. And then, of course, someone leaked to the town, and then they all made fun of it, and all made fun of us for the rest of the year. It was worth it. It was so worth it.
Oh, bless you, sassafras and picnics. Oh, I love you both so much. Oh, and she is just now giggling. It's just like, yeah, this is very much changed the entire mood of the thing. She has almost forgotten everything else because it's like, yeah, this pecking guy, these pecking too.
And he is very glad because that's exactly what he intended. A little bit of emotional manipulation between friends, that's no big deal. But yeah. I think unless Lynn has any other questions, I think we can zoom out from there.
Yeah. There is one final thing of, like, after a bit of companionable silence, she is just going to go, Jacques?
Yes?
Can I have some more coffee?
Okay, yeah, that's fair. we zoom out with the sun just starting to rise and line the house in gold, as Jacques gets up to make more coffee for the two of them, who at this point probably been up for like a while. And that, I'm willing to bet Asclepius will come down in the next few hours and just find the two passed out at the island. Pops of coffee beside them. But yeah.
I think this is the one time where Lynn's actually going to fall asleep and not dream, because this is... She's actually fallen asleep happy for once.
Oh, Lynn, I carry you so much. I carry this little monkey.
Lynn has now forcibly adopted these two into her heart. They are now, just like Jacques is forcibly adopted. He is now Spooky Grandpa. He is going to have her calling card in his pocket. He is not going to be able to remove it. It is now permanent. He's family.
That's so good, because the moment like Lynn's gone, Jacques is gonna go to Escapius and be like, "So we may need to add another wing to the house." And Escapius is just gonna be like, "I should have seen this coming. I did see this coming, but somehow I'm still surprised. Let's get on it."
You are going to have a surprise monkey coming into your house and stealing your coffee. It's now a thing. She is now your kid. It's too late.
It's artisanal beans, so I hope she enjoys it.
She's going to crunch them.
And on that disturbing note, I'm going to stop the recording.